rather than collecting it.
And take it off.
Right. We don't know what this business is. Again, we obviously.
Yeah, if our cameraman can hear us, it's Urban Outfitters.
Oh, wow.
Urban Outfitters. Urban Outfitters got looted in the Fairfax district yesterday. So it's interesting that they seem to be going after the same sorts of stores. Well, this is the second Urban Outfitters in 24 hours that I know of.
It's the crime of opportunity. They're just so big. Mm-hmm. Such a big store, has so much inside.
Unbelievable. Well, it continues, and at least we're seeing a police presence there, and there's an effort being made to stop the looting, if not to arrest the looters. But at least they've, if somebody was planning to loot and then set a fire, they put a stop to that. And it's just an astounding thing to watch. Oh, it was a Cavalli designer suit warehouse that the people were in here that had been boarded up. We're going to transfer now. I've got David Ono just coming in.
Thank you, Mark. And Colleen, I'm joined with by Veronica Miracle as we continue to make this transition, and it's an incredible site that you guys did an amazing job with, and it says so much about what our communities, multiple communities, are having to deal with in this crisis. So all day long, we have been seeing looting going on in Santa Monica.
Oh,
there we go.
Look at this. Look at that.
These
They're
are live
so brazen.
images
So
from
brazen.
the ground. And Veronica, this is exactly what we saw happening in Santa Monica, but now it's happening in Long Beach.
Right, and again, it's always this small group of people who are really ruining it for everyone else and all of the other protesters practicing civil disobedience here. I am just stunned, though, at how brazen they were on live TV.
Yeah.
One of the cops.
Well, it is interesting, though, because what we didn't see in Santa Monica was a police presence where the looting was happening. They were simply going in, taking what they want, and unmolested, unaccosted by the police. They simply ran by them and got out of the area. We didn't see a single attempt to stop them from looting in Santa Monica because, quite frankly, the police had so many things going on in that community. They had priorities, and stopping looters was not one of the priorities, quite clearly. We watched that happen for quite some time there in multiple places in Santa Monica. Now we see Long Beach, where we just saw that scene where suddenly a stack of Long Beach police officers go into a storefront, and then you see the panic from the looters. We didn't see any arrests, Veronica.
No arrests.
But we did at least see a police presence, and that presence alone at least forced the looters out of that store and left whatever merchandise that was left in it.
I think, that was so startling to see them busting through the window and climbing over that plywood. Just remarkable sights here. We want to bring you the update on the latest that's happening in our area. So there's a delicate situation in Santa Monica where those protests continue despite a city curfew that went into effect at 4 p.m. As police try to clear the streets and prepare to make arrests, looting continues. At least one fire broke out inside a store as vandals ran out. Now, a Los Angeles County-wide curfew is now in effect at this hour, and it's going to be in place until 6 a.m. tomorrow. So if you're outside right now, you are breaking the law. In downtown LA, the National Guard has taken position at City Hall. A large group of protesters has gathered there, so far very peaceful. Protesters are also gathered in Long Beach in violation of the curfew that we were just showing you. They're blocking traffic, and there is looting now underway, as you just saw.
Right, so it's an incredible scene. Leanne Suter now, she joins us from the ground in Santa Monica. Leanne has been watching a lot of back and forth between protesters and police. What's the situation like right now?
David and Veronica, we've moved in past 3rd Street Promenade. I want to give you a look at some of the damage from that looting. Also, I'll give you a live look in a second of a skirmish line that is very active right now. But take a look over my shoulder here. I think you guys watched this live from the helicopter. This is the Van store at the corner corner of 4th and Broadway. You can see that the looters actually just propped the doors open and just went in and grabbed anything that they could find. The street out here is littered with boxes of all of the shoes that were left behind by all of the looters that ran inside grabbing whatever they could. Over here you can see that there's a jewelry store. They completely smashed out the window, lifted up the metal gate that is supposed to protect that. Every one of the counters I can see inside, all of the cases shattered. If there was anything in there, it is gone. There is not much left inside there, a lot of glass. You can see where they used even bicycles that appeared smashing through there to try to get inside. But this is what we're talking about down the road here. This is at Broadway. This remains a very active scene right here. This is where SWAT is in a standoff right now at 5th and Broadway with the protesters on this side. So they've cleared out a large section of the inner area of Santa Monica, I would say around Broadway, Colorado, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. That has all been cleared. They kind of keep pushing them to the east here, and you can see that we are in a standoff with folks right now. I see a lot of the protesters that have kind of climbed up on some of this construction scaffolding, the wooden barriers there around that construction area. I can see a lot of them gathered up there, and the SWAT team is in place here. Now this is the Sheriff's Department helping out Santa Monica here. You can see them getting set up. And a couple of moments ago, I heard them, it sounded like they were using some non-lethal measures. In the middle of the street, that is where they had tried to set that fire. Looks like straw or debris or something that they set on fire. You see it's been doused. I see a bunch of water bottles in there. Here's something else I see. If you can see this, Bill, in the front, it appears that these might have been two of the things thrown by the crowds. I know they have been doing that with a couple of things where they've thrown fire extinguishers to them. Yeah, so I see they're going to push this crowd back. I'm going to move us up to the middle of the street because I want to give you a shot down 5th. Turn to the left there, Bill. There's got another skirmish line going down 5th. That would be, I believe, at 5th and Colorado is where that one is. And I just heard them flashbang or something go off down on that end as they're trying to push the folks out of on that side of this protest. But again, you can see them just literally in a face-off, face-to-face with police as they are pushing them back ever so slowly.
Leanne,
Just forcing them back. Go ahead, Veronica.
Yeah, we have your picture up in Santa Monica.
Watch out. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, we have your picture up in Santa Monica as those law enforcement officers move closer to the protests, and then on the other side of our screen we have Long Beach where Urban Outfitters was being looted, and there's still people going in and out, not at this exact moment, but we've been watching. The police seem to just walk away from that.
The police have left. Now this is how quickly things change. So just minutes ago you saw a police presence there as the store was being looted. Those police have left. As the police left, the looters came back and immediately started going back into the store and taking things from the store. There they are on the corner, but it's been figured out that their goal is not to make any arrests right now. So what we want to show you, as Leanne continues to show you this situation on your left-hand side, we want to show you what happened 5 minutes ago in Long Beach. Just as a store was being broken into and being looted, Long Beach police suddenly showed up and there was bedlam for a quick moment. Can we roll that video? Watch this closely. So there are looters inside the store. This is going to be on your right-hand side. On your left, keep in mind, that's live. Quickly watch. Here comes a police stack. They're going to quickly go to that front door. Inside that building, looters are inside there taking merchandise. Watch the reaction and the desperation to get out.
Just pushing through.
And that was just the beginning of the story. That's the front door. So they're running from that area.
We have my live picture. You see, that's what I have. Them facing off just...
And from what we understand, they did show up. They did chase looters out, and there was this desperate attempt around the other side of the building to literally get out through the upper level windows, which they were able to do. Veronica, we saw them shatter windows and take down boards in order to get out of that building.
Yeah, they were desperate to get out, and they threw some clothing out. But It sounds like things are picking up where you are, Leanne.
I'm sorry, we are right in here. You can see them there. You can hear the crowd chanting here. And they're just ever so forcefully pushing this line of protesters back. It's hard to tell kind of how big the crowd is, but it appears we've got about 100 people or more that are here as they're trying to push them back. I see some, some minor skirmishes. I can see them kind of really, the protesters pushing back against the officers, but so far it, is relatively peaceful. The protesters just simply backing up. I've only seen a couple of, I saw some eggs thrown at one point, but other than that, I haven't seen anything else thrown from the protesters. I haven't seen since we arrived the police using any of the non-lethal rounds. I see that they have them on their bodies. Several officers have them, but no one is using. The officers in the very front, the sheriff, it's a combination of police and sheriff's department. They have their batons out. They're just gently pushing them all back. Oh, here comes a glass bottle. Somebody just threw a bottle. Here comes another one. So yeah, now they're throwing stuff. So this is when it turns. So now you can see the crowd starting to run. So that's the problem. When they start throwing things, that's when things really take a turn for the worse, because that's when you'll start to see police. But so far, they aren't doing any action. They aren't taking any action against these protesters. I don't know how far back they're going to push them. But again, it just appears that's the goal. Just ever so slowly pushing, inching them away from downtown Santa Monica here. But you're coming into residential areas, and you can see there are people like up on the top of these apartment buildings just watching what's happening, seeing what's going to happen next. But I haven't seen, again, any major problems here. You can see most of the protesters have their hands up as they are backing away from the officers as they ever so slowly push them back. But I just don't know how far this will continue, or what point they will stop, or if the crowd will disperse, or this is going to be a standoff that's going to continue for some time. I hear the police saying that they're going to hold the line right here for now as they try to determine what their next step will be. But this is just a standoff between the two sides. So we've seen that repeatedly throughout Santa Monica here. Earlier today, we saw it on Ocean, where a very large group of protesters ended up facing off with police, and that ended up lasting a couple of hours before they finally cleared out. I can see SWAT vehicles moving in behind us, but I don't know if that means they're going to take any action coming in or not. But bringing in some more, here we go, some more reinforcements. So again, it's when the bottles and the rocks start being thrown, that's when things turn. So I see more sheriff's deputies coming in right now. So we'll see what happens here as they change it. Wait, so I'm going to keep them out of the road. So yeah, that's what we're looking at least here in Santa Monica at this point on this section. We have not seen, in the times that we're walking around, I haven't seen any active looting. Water bottles. All right, we're staying over. One came close there.
Yeah. Leanne, this started at noon as a peaceful protest. Do you see the same group of protesters here now, or is it a different group of people? Has it changed?
It's hard to tell if this is the same group. It's hard for me to say if these are the same faces I saw. I don't see any of the ones that we saw in the front of the line that really were making their presence known down in Ocean. But I'm going to guess it's a large, I would guess it's some of the same. Here come some of the motor officers coming in right now. Now you really see the crowd starting to disperse. As they watch. So I see them throwing, there's eggs. I see more eggs. They've been throwing eggs and water bottles, really. Stay up with him. And so yeah, I can't say this is the same crowd, but I will tell you that the entire time we were down on Ocean, we saw a steady stream of folks walking into Santa Monica. We saw cars coming in off of every roadway we could see. And in fact, we had to make a quick stop at our truck to get a new battery to keep our camera going. And when we stopped there was maybe 20 people that walked by us that were headed into Santa Monica because they wanted to come join these protests. And they knew that that there was a curfew in place, but that didn't matter to them. They said they were still coming anyway, and that they couldn't be stopped. But so people are still continuing to come into Santa Monica, despite the very large police presence and the fact that they're attempting to clear everyone out. I see a lot of the protesters now running. So that's one thing we have noticed in following along with this, is that they end